Howdy, howdy. Okay, so we'll get you started here, uh, Mr. Adorryable. So just a sort of overview of what I'm going to be doing for both you guys tonight is going to be giving similar information to both of you. So um, an overview of the team, your opponent's team, that is. A quick look at your own team, which you're obviously very familiar with, and sort of what I think you should do to beat the other team, his strengths and weaknesses, and what I would do in your shoes to do that. What I'm not going to tell you is what strategy I'm giving to the other coach. So, you know, basically, I'm not going to be saying, okay, well, I'm going to tell, Arcani to play this way, and you should play this way to counter that. I'm just going to say, here's how I would do it. Here's if I were to just be looking at his team, these are the strengths I would see, and here's how I would play against them. So I'm not gonna tell you his tendencies or whatever else. Those I'll leave for you to discover on your own. So quick look at your team here. Obviously, no tackle, no wrestle, no strip ball, but you do have mighty blow. So this guy is basically, and your bearded lady are the lifeblood of your team. Secondary guys are going to be your catchers. Actually, I'll probably put, I don't know. So you've got four players really that you need to protect going forward in this game. Everybody else is, so for me, those guys are the guys that you apothecary. Specifically, this guy here. He's the man that has highest priority on the apothecaries. So go ahead and take a look at Arcani squad here. So let's see, he's at 1230. You are at 1090 plus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're going to get 3 loners at 60, so plus 180. So you're going to be 1200-ish. Is that right? I'm sorry, it's very late. I'm tired. But whatever. Do the math. Figure it out. Maybe I should do that, since the inducements might matter. Anyhow, we'll get to that in a little minute. We'll take a look at his team and what we would want to do against it. So he's got a wrestle thrall and a kick thrall. He's obviously very healthy. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 9. So he's got 12 guys, which tells me he's got enough to foul. So be wary of that. The lifeblood of his team is this guy here, obviously. And this guy to a lesser extent. So what's going to be a problem for you is if he decides to carry on this guy on defense. When you're on defense, because he's blodge, agility 5, strength 4. So your typical dive in isn't going to work on him, because even if you just mark up the side of his cage and leap in to hit him without tackle, without wrestle, without strip ball, it's a red die against, and you need double pals, which is of course 1 in 36. So you need a 1 in 36 on top of leaping and on top of basing his cage to get this guy down if it's in a typical square cage. So that means you're going to have to make him vulnerable in other places. So that means basically blitzing with mighty blow every turn. So your mighty blow blitzer is going to be the key to this game. And keeping him safe, right? So you're basically take 2 die blocks on any vampire that you get with, or any vampire that you can with that guy. Blitz him. If you got a shot at a 2 die blitz with mighty blow on a vampire, take it absolutely every time. As long as you can get your guy safe at the end. So he needs to have some sort of screen that he can run behind, 2 guys go out and smash somebody close and come back. And if his vampires are too well protected, then just come out and smash an 87, right? So these guys are with Mighty Blow. If you knock them down, it's a greater than 50% chance. It's about a 60% chance to break armor, right? And if you break armor naturally, then the chance to remove them is quite high with Mighty Blow. So you're talking 20-30% chance to remove a guy when you knock him down with Mighty Blow. So I think that's going to be your go-to for this game, is just running in, blitzing, running away, trying to get a removal, and just doing that over and over again, because it's likely, I think, that he's going to be carrying it certainly on a vampire, and probably pretty likely that'll be on the Edge 5 vampire. So I think this will be your first encounter with Agility 5, and it's a rude awakening. I mean, we've watched my stream enough to know what to do, or what is possible with Agility 5, what sort of shenanigans you can get involved in. And he's also blodged, so he can dodge into one tackle zones on a 1 in 36, essentially. So if the ball is down on the floor in one tackle zone, assume that it isn't safe. That is far from safe. It's just a 2+ with that vampire away. So always know where that guy is. Always know what he's doing, and try to knock his ass down as much as possible. That guy is worth a foul if you can get it on him. Really, any of the vampires. The only problem with that is you got to be a little bit careful, since you've only got 11 dudes. So make sure it's a, I would say, 66% chance or better to break armor on those guys. To be and you can't sacrifice a lot of positioning to do it. So what's going to be different about this game is, another thing is, you're going to have a bit more strength and blocking advantage than you're used to, mostly because of the Mighty Blow guy, but secondarily because you have armor 8 and he doesn't. He's got armor 7 mostly. You've got the bear and he doesn't. On the other side of it is he's got 3 vampires, which are strength 4 obviously, armor 8, and can get around wherever they want to. So the standard, so you might be a little bit more willing to base than you typically are as Kislev. Again, be careful with that. Don't do it more than you have to, but and I would say, especially if you start getting the man advantage. So if you start removing a guy or two, be more willing to base. Still be smart about it. Don't give him obvious 2 dies, just to punch you back. But remember that he's got to move thralls out in front of his vampires to move them down the field. So sometimes here and there, a well-placed mark of a thrall, for example, the only guy that can get downfield to make a score safe, that can be more effective. Than marking the vampire, right? Because he's still got a bloodlust. Watch his reroll, see what they're doing, because bloodlust is always an issue. If he runs out of vampires or rerolls early, then getting those thralls away from where the vampires want to go, preventing that is a good way to do defense. Sorry, I'm really struggling here. Right. So I think your best bet on defense is just to go for attrition. So get in his way and just pick off guys as they come. If it means taking a shot at an armor 7 guy on the side of the cage, or just a random guy that's out there with a Mighty Blow that you can then get your blitzer safe, do that. Keep the bear on as many of those thralls as you possibly can. I think it's going to be his game to sort of gum up the works. He does have Mighty Blow as well, so you can use him. But again, I think just tying up those guys is going to be really difficult for him to get away, because they're only agility 3. So if you can get him on 3 guys, that's he's got 3 vampires. That's 6 players right there. And so he's only got that many other guys that he can go and bite and use to do other stuff. So That'll be the key to defense, I think. Yeah, you're not going to want to cage leap unless you can at least get one assist on there. So without that, you don't quite have the tools developed enough to do it yet. So once you get guard, once you get strip ball, tackle, wrestle, all those are good ball sacking skills, and don't have any just yet. So that's okay. We'll get there. On offense, this is going to be a unique challenge, and the main reason for that is this skill here, hypnotic gaze. So he can just walk up to your guy, and it's a free roll, and he just gets to hypnotic gaze you, and you lose your tackle zone. So, and if he fails the roll, it doesn't matter. It's no turnover or anything, but it does end his movement. So he's done once he hypnotic gazes. So the repercussions of that are that a typical cage are not safe for vampires. So you can just walk up with one vampire, hypno gaze. He might do it against your bear, so you watch out for that, which would be devastating at times. So you're going to have to give your bear lots of support. But yeah, you can just walk up to a cage corner, whether it's a bear or somebody else, hypno gaze him. I believe it's a 3+ and a 2+ for the agility 5 guy. It's based on how many tackle zones he's in. So if he just walks up to one guy, 3+. So if he's in 2 tackle zones, it's 4+. And so that'll if you think of the tackle zone is completely negated on the side of the cage, which means that he can then tag up the other guy on the other side of the cage and run in and get a 2D on your ball carrier with a vampire. So that means you're going to have to play this game similar to what we played the Wood Elf game to. You got to beware of the vampires, know where they are. You're going to have to use sort of layered screens and such because like I said, just one isn't going to work. So you're going to have like a screen in front of your cage to do it. So the main advantage that you're going to have on offense over these guys is you're going to be able to gum up the works with your bear, and you outspeed them by quite a bit. So between your blitzers and your catchers, that's going to be your main advantage. So I'm going to say that scoring quickly is going to be your friend because vampires are very good on defense and they're good at cage breaking. So you might be able to maintain that sort of screen and then cage behind it for a little while, but I wouldn't count on that lasting a whole drive. It gets too chaotic and too much hypnotic gaze and all that sort of shit, not enough block and whatever. So always have guys that are within range of scoring because it might go to shit and you might just need to. That might be your best option is to get it to a guy downfield and score. That's most of it. I guess we could talk about Bloodlust and what it is. I sort of glossed over it as if you know what it is. But so Vampire just has to roll a 1D to start, and if he rolls a 1, he has to go bite somebody. Bite specifically a thrall to quench his bloodlust or whatever. So that means he has to end his movement and end his movement biting a thrall, right? So the interesting part about that is that roll takes place before any touchdowns are counted, or before any passes or handoffs or any of that sort of stuff is done. So you can't just and the other piece is if you can't bite a thrall, if you end your movement in a square that is you can't bite a thrall, then you're sent off, and you can come back, but you go up to the crowd and bite somebody or whatever. So and it's a turnover. So it's it can be a really devastating skill. Arcane is, I'll sort of forego that piece. Um, he's a very solid coach, so expect a stiff challenge, despite it being vampires. Let's see. Right. So the touchdowns and stuff. So the way it works is, for example, he can't. Let's say he rolls a bloodlust. He's out of re-rolls and he can't redo it. He's got the ball and he could go score, but there's no thrall there in the end zone to bite. So if he goes down there and stands in the end zone, the touchdown isn't counted until bloodlust is taken into account. So what'll happen is he'll get tossed off, the ball will scatter, and no touchdown will be scored if that happens. Same thing with like a pass. So the idea is being like, you can't just be like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna do this one last thing despite throwing, rolling a bad bloodlust. No, you have to, you'll have to walk a thrall down there, and just in case bloodlust fails, and if it does, then he can walk down to the goal line and bite the thrall. So that's why it can be important to start whittling away at the thralls. So that's pretty much what I've got to say about vampires. Good luck. I'm really excited about it. I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of him, and it's going to be a fun time, and may the best coach win. So I'll peek in. I might watch your VOD, or I might just watch it over Cabal Vision, because that's faster. So I will see you next stream likely. So good luck, man. Hope you do well.